My phone lit up at 11:42 p.m. with the family group chat. Maverick's message hit first: "Don't show up to Christmas brunch this year." My parents dropped hearts right under it. This wasn't new last year. They cut me from Thanksgiving for making things heavy. I typed back, "Your choice." They kept chatting about cinnamon rolls and guest lists like I never existed. I silenced the notifications, the burn spreading fast. Smash that subscribe button if your own family ever ghosted you in public. 6 months earlier, my phone rang at 3 in the morning in my Chicago apartment. I was Preston Dean, 29, a financial analyst who spent days dissecting balance sheets and nights calculating risk. The caller ID showed my father's name. Dean Steelworks LLC, the family's small steel fabrication company in Cleveland, was drowning. Bank statements I'd pulled weeks before painted a grim picture: overdue loans, maxed credit lines, suppliers threatening liens of their own. My parents had retired years ago, leaving operations to my older brother. His growth strategy had turned into a black hole. I didn't wait for pleading. I initiated the rescue. Liquidating a chunk of my investment portfolio and dipping into savings, I wired $1,200,000 to cover the most critical debts. The bank required a formal agreement to prevent immediate foreclosure. Riley Voss, an attorney I'd worked with on corporate restructurings, drafted a UCC lien on all company assets. It wasn't punishment, it was insurance. For 6 months, every expenditure would route through a monitored account. Repay in installments or control transferred to me. Simple, airtight. My brother signed as witness the following week. He breezed into the notary's office, pen in hand, treating the document like another social media waiver. "Just paperwork, right?" he said, flashing the grin that always worked on our parents. I watched him scrawl his name without reading a line. Riley slid the executed copy across the table. The lien was locked. Aunt Evelyn called that evening from Pittsburgh. She'd retired from nursing but still had the sharp instincts of someone who'd seen too many families fracture over money. "Kid, smart move, protect your money first," she said, voice steady. She'd watched the pattern for years: my brother's ventures, my parents' blind support, my quiet fixes. "You're not the villain for drawing a line." Her words settled the knot in my chest. Exhaustion lingered, but for the first time in years, I felt in control. The transfer cleared. Vendors were paid. The plant stayed open. My parents expressed gratitude in vague terms, already shifting focus to my brother's next big idea. I set up alerts on the new account, ready to track every dollar. The 6-month clock started ticking. I configured dashboards to flag anything over $5,000 without pre-approval. Daily reports landed in my inbox. At first, routine payroll, raw materials, utilities. Then patterns emerged: transfers to unfamiliar vendors, charges labeled marketing that didn't match invoices. I screenshot each anomaly, building a timeline. Riley reviewed the first batch. "This is why the monitoring clause exists," he emailed. "Keep logging." I forwarded nothing to the family. No confrontations yet. The lien gave me leverage, not a megaphone. My brother posted online about new equipment investments while I watched the corresponding withdrawals. My parents commented with praise emojis. I archived everything. Aunt Evelyn checked in weekly. "Still holding the line?" she asked during one call. I updated her on the flagged transactions. "Good," she replied. "Let the numbers do the talking when the time comes." Her support was quiet, but absolute: no drama, just facts. She'd lost her own savings years ago to a sibling's bad business and refused to see history repeat. By month 3, the repayment schedule arrived via certified mail. My parents signed receipt but never mentioned it. Installments were due the 15th of each month. The first missed. I noted it. The second triggered a courtesy email from Riley's standard procedure. My brother responded with a thumbs-up emoji, then nothing. Alerts kept coming: boutique hotel bookings, private jet shares, camera gear far beyond production needs. Each entry sharpened my focus. I expanded the monitoring. linked the company card to expense software, categorized every charge, built a spreadsheet cross-referencing influencer posts with timestamps. The picture clarified company funds fueling a lifestyle, not operations. Steel output flatlined while brand partnerships multiplied. Suppliers called me directly now asking when back orders would ship. I forwarded to Riley for documentation. Aunt Evelyn's next text was blunt. "You're building a fortress. Don't apologize for the walls. I saved it." The exhaustion evolved less about the money, more about the inevitability. 6 months wasn't arbitrary. It was the buffer between rescue and reckoning. I scheduled monthly reviews with Riley, preparing for enforcement if needed. The plant limped along on minimal cash flow. Workers whispered about delayed bonuses. My parents planned holiday menus. I slept in shifts, laptop glowing beside the bed. Each alert a reminder this wasn't charity anymore. The lien wasn't a threat, it was the contract. My brother's signature sat at the bottom, witnessed and notarized, ironclad. Aunt Evelyn's voice echoed, "Protect first." I did. The dashboard refreshed hourly. Anomalies piled up. I exported reports weekly, labeling folders by date. Riley compiled them into a master file, no stone unturned. One supplier threatened legal action over unpaid invoices. I paid from the monitored account, deducting from the next installment. My brother noticed the dip, asked casually in a group text about cash flow issues. My parents brushed it off. I stayed silent. The lien's terms were clear. Monitoring continued. Patterns solidified. Lifestyle expenses disguised as business. I cross-checked flight manifests with charge dates. Matches every time. Aunt Evelyn sent a care package, coffee beans, and a note. "Fuel for the fight. You've got this." I brewed a pot, stared at the screen. The 6-month mark approached. Repayments lagged further. Riley drafted preliminary notices. I reviewed drafts, approved language. Enforcement loomed. Control shifted closer. Exhaustion mixed with resolve. The line held. That night, a private message from my brother arrived. His name appeared on the screen. No noise from the family group chat. "You're making things tense," he typed. "Don't make things awkward." I stared at the words, the insult hitting like a slap. Tense. As if my very existence disrupted the perfect narrative they were trying to protect. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the monitored account dashboard. The lien's 6-month window still had months left, but that message pushed me to dig deeper. Kendall handled his public relations, turning failed ventures into rebranding phases. She scheduled everything now, including family events. Christmas morning brunch wasn't just eggs and mimosas, it was a signing ceremony. A Los Angeles sponsor had offered $550,000 for an influencer campaign tied to my brother's entrepreneurial journey. Kendall mapped the entire thing out in spreadsheets, guest list, decor, theme, contract clauses. She sent the drafts to my parents for approval. They replied with excitement, ignoring the company's fragile condition. My parents defended him relentlessly. Every flop became a learning experience. When his last sponsorship collapsed due to missed deliverables, they blamed market volatility. I got updates, secondhand group texts praising his resilience. No one asked about steel output or unpaid vendors. Their loyalty formed a thick, unbreakable shield. I scrolled through Kendall's public posts. She tagged locations at my parents' home in Cleveland, teasing holiday magic with partners. Hashtags promised exclusivity. The sponsor's profile showcased luxury brands with high engagement requirements. $550,000 depended on the image of stability. I knew the numbers told a different story. The private message lingered in my mind. "You're making things tense." He meant my questions, my reminders about repayment. On the last family call, I mentioned the missed installment. Silence followed, then the topic shifted to his upcoming trip. Kendall steered everything back to positivity. My parents nodded along. That night, I accessed the transfer logs going further than my usual checks. I filtered by recent activity. Transactions poured in consultant fees, graphic design retainers, travel advances. Nothing over the flag threshold yet, but the volume was rising. I exported the raw data and fed it into my analysis software. Patterns needed context. Kendall's role expanded every month. She negotiated rates, booked shoots, managed calendars. My brother relied on her to polish every edge. The brunch served multiple purposes: sign the deal, film the content, launch immediately. The guest list was curated pure influencers, no space for family tension. My parents offered their home eagerly. The house transformed into a set, fresh paint, rented furniture, professional lighting. To them, it was support. Past failures faded from their minds, replaced by possibility. I wasn't formally invited, but the exclusion still burned. The message sat with me. I screenshotted it and filed it into a private folder. Evidence of tone of dismissal. The lien protected the finances, but behavior revealed character. I adjusted queries to trace originating accounts. Subsidiary cards appeared linked back to company credit lines. Kendall emailed the contract draft to my brother. He accidentally forwarded it to the family group subject line, "Big news." My parents responded instantly, excited emojis, offers to help with setup. No mention of due diligence. The sponsor needed financial disclosures. Kendall reassured him that everything's clean. I ran preliminary cross-checks. Campaign budgets versus actual spending. Discrepancies emerged. Travel costs were double projections. I flagged them for deeper review. The brunch approached fast. My brother's message intended to silence me. Instead, it ignited action. I created dedicated worksheets, one for brunch-related expenses, another for sponsor requirements. Data points multiplied. Kendall's efficiency masked underlying risks. My parents planned menus around the signing, signature cocktails, branded napkins. They saw validation, not vulnerability. Defense meant denial. I documented old thread comments, patterns repeating. The private insult became fuel. No more passive monitoring. I scheduled hourly automated data pulls, integrated real-time feeds. Anomalies would surface faster. The lien's purpose sharpened: protect the rescue. Kendall posted teasers, a countdown to a game-changing partnership. Engagement soared. My brother reposted, adding flair. My parents liked every update. The narrative was perfect until reality cut in. I compiled the initial findings into a secure report. No sharing yet. Timing mattered. The brunch was peak exposure. $550,000 hung in the balance, the family's reputation tied with it. His warning backfired. Insult turned into resolve. I refined algorithms, set custom alerts. Any transfer after midnight triggered immediate review. The dashboard became my battlefield. Kendall's plans unfolded publicly. My scrutiny stayed hidden. My parents offered their home without hesitation. They believed in redemption arcs, past bailouts erased by excitement. I noted their blind spots, added them to the timeline. The private message marked a shift from observer to architect. Data streamed in. I categorized without mercy legitimate versus questionable. Brunch prep expenses ballooned, catering deposits, floral orders. The sponsors' funds hadn't arrived, but spending accelerated. Kendall coordinated flawlessly. Her confidence sold the deal. My brother played the star. My parents provided the stage. Excluding me ensured no dissent. His message enforced silence. I broke that silence internally. Queries ran through the night. Results waited for morning. The lien's clock ticked louder. $550,000 dangled like bait. I prepared to pull the line. The laptop screen glowed in my 42nd floor apartment. Weeks of intensified tracking culminated tonight. I filtered the logs by destination, isolating international wires. One entry stood out: $80,000 routed to a Monaco resort account labeled Team Retreat. Cross-referenced dates matched my brother's social posts: yacht photos, champagne toasts. No team present. Personal indulgence charged to the company. I drilled deeper. Vendor invoices attached to the transfer revealed spa packages, private dinners. Steelworkers back in Cleveland skipped overtime pay that month. The discrepancy glared. I downloaded statements, highlighted misclassifications. The lien's monitoring clause captured it all. Next cluster equipment purchases: $50,000 to a high-end camera supplier. Descriptions listed professional rigs, lenses, lighting kits. Company needs basic safety gear lagged behind. I pulled inventory reports. Old tools rusted, no upgrades logged. These items fueled content creation, not fabrication. I compiled screenshots into a secure folder. Timestamps aligned perfectly with influencer uploads. Monaco trip footage edited on the new gear. Views climbed, but revenue stalled. The pattern crystallized: diversion of funds. Riley needed the package. I dialed his direct line. "Send the notice Christmas morning," I instructed. No hesitation. Full enforcement, no extensions. He confirmed receipt of the evidence bundle. "This seals it," he said. "The UCC lien activated on default, repayments long overdue." I texted Aunt Evelyn, "Monaco receipts locked." Her reply came swift: "Good. Evidence speaks louder than arguments, kid. Let it land." No lectures, just reinforcement. Her experience taught precision over emotion. The dashboard refreshed. Additional charges trickled in last-minute brunch add-ons. I ignored them for now. Focus locked on the core violations. 80,000 for luxury, 50,000 for vanity. Total exposure exceeded tolerances. I encrypted the file uploaded to Riley's portal. Backup copies stored offline. No risks. The notice would detail every transaction, cite the witness signature from months ago. Ironclad execution. Cold calculation replaced doubt. Weeks of data points formed an unbreakable chain. Monaco wasn't anomaly, isolation proved intent. Equipment purchases bypassed approval chains. The lien anticipated abuse. Evidence delivered proof. Riley outlined the delivery protocol. Certified, tracked, timed for maximum impact. Christmas morning ensured presence. No escapes. I approved the final draft. Language neutral, facts dominant. Aunt Evelyn's words anchored. Arguments failed before, numbers endured. I reviewed the chain one last time. Transfers, invoices, posts, undeniable links. The plant's survival hinged on enforcement, not sentiment. I closed secondary tabs. Brunch chatter faded from relevance. The deal's fragility exposed through spending. 80,000 wasted, 50,000 misallocated. Reckoning approached. Riley sent confirmation notice, queued, courier assigned. Timing precise. I leaned back, screen dimming. Resolve hardened. The line crossed weeks ago. Tonight mapped the path. Evidence compiled, notice primed. Aunt Evelyn's affirmation echoed. Let it land, hard, clean, final. No revisions. The city lights blinked below. I powered down, decision sealed. I wasn't there, but Riley scheduled the delivery. From Chicago, his text arrived at 10:15 a.m., UPS en route, ETA 10:17. I refreshed the tracking link. Cleveland's holiday bustle contrasted my quiet screen. Riley coordinated remotely, eyes on the courier app. At the house, Kendall directed setup with military precision. She adjusted centerpieces, aligned champagne flutes, checked lighting angles. The dining table gleamed under rented chandeliers. The Los Angeles sponsors, a couple in tailored suits, arrived early, sipping mimosas. "This decor is pure elegance," the wife said, snapping photos. Kendall beamed, guiding them to branded backdrops. The brunch pulsed with curated energy. Influencer guests mingled, phones out for stories. My brother posed center stage, Kendall prompting smiles. My parents hovered proudly, refilling glasses. The contract sat ready on a side table, pens aligned. 10:17 a.m. sharp. Doorbell chimed. UPS driver handed over the thick envelope, signature captured. Kendall glanced curiously but waved it to Herbert. "Dad, handle this." He nodded, excusing himself to the adjacent study. Door clicked shut behind him. Riley's update pinged. Delivered. Father took to private room. I pictured the scene, festive noise muffled outside. Herbert slit the seal, pulled the stack. Top page bold, notice of UCC lien enforcement. His eyes scanned downward, color draining. In the dining area, conversation flowed. Sponsors praised the authentic family vibe. Kendall orchestrated toasts building to the signing. My brother rehearsed lines under his breath. My mother arranged pastries, oblivious. Herbert's hands trembled slightly. Subsections detailed asset seizure default triggers. He flipped faster, breath shortening. Riley texted, "He's reading alone, door closed." Isolation amplified the shock. Outside the study, laughter peaked. A sponsor asked about company stability, casual probe. Kendall deflected smoothly. Rock-solid growth. My brother nodded vigorously. The envelope's weight pressed unseen. Herbert emerged pale, envelope clutched. He approached the table, edge voice cracking, "Lien enforcement." Words hung incomplete. The room stilled mid-sip. Kendall froze, smile faltering. Sponsors exchanged glances. Riley's live notes. Atmosphere shifted, guests quiet. From afar, I sensed the freeze. Champagne bubbles slowed. My brother's face tightened. My mother reached for Herbert's arm. The sponsors set down glasses. Enforcement? The husband echoed. Kendall snatched the document, scanning headlines. Her authority cracked. Brunch perfection shattered in seconds. Herbert retreated a step, envelope now public. Riley. Father handed it over, chaos building. Distant panic transmitted through pixels. Loss of face radiated. Kendall's voice rose. "This can't interrupt." Sponsors leaned in, reading over shoulders. Key phrases jumped: full control, immediate effect. The deal's foundation quaked. My parents flanked Herbert, confusion mounting. Guests shifted uncomfortably, phones lowered. The curated morning unraveled thread by thread. Riley updated relentlessly. Table frozen, signing stalled. Humiliation broadcast without my presence. The envelope dominated, truth intruding. Sponsors murmured excuses, gathering coats. Kendall pleaded for context, but momentum vanished. Brunch devolved into whispers. Herbert stared at the floor, document limp in hand. Riley. Embarrassment peak, no recovery. Remote observation captured every fracture. The room's energy inverted. Celebration to crisis. Kendall's command dissolved. My brother's spotlight dimmed. Riley's final ping, guests dispersing early. Distant disgrace complete. The notice landed exactly as planned. Herbert flipped through the pages in the side room. The door remained cracked, voices leaking from the dining area. The first sheet restated the UCC lien terms: full asset control upon default. He lingered on the signature block, a witness line bearing Maverick's name dated 6 months prior. The notary stamp was crisp below. Deeper sections attached exhibits. Monaco transfer summary, $80,000, resort ledger scans, yacht rental confirmations. Misappropriation flagged in red. Herbert's fingers tightened. Next bundle, $50,000 to a camera vendor, invoices for rigs unused in operations. Social media screenshots linked purchases to personal content. Kendall burst in, first contract in hand. "Dad, what's delaying?" She snatched pages, eyes darting. The sponsors trailed, curiosity peaked from earlier murmurs. The husband scanned the lean header, brow furrowing. His wife joined, whispering concerns. Maverick entered, last champagne flute abandoned. He recognized his own scrawl instantly. "That's old paperwork." He dismissed, reaching to reclaim it. Herbert held firm. The exhibits spread across the desk, undeniable ties. The sponsors had lightly vetted before noting funding inconsistencies in due diligence. This document confirmed their suspicions. The husband stepped back toward the patio door. "We can't proceed with this risk," he stated firmly into his phone, already dialing associates. "Deal termination protocol activated." Kendall pleaded, "It's a misunderstanding internal audit." Pages contradicted her. Monaco dates aligned with absence logs. Equipment sat in storage, not the plant. The wife nodded to her partner, gathering materials. $550,000 evaporated mid-conversation. Maverick's face drained of color. The signing table outside waited empty now. Guests sensed tension, excusing themselves quietly. His empire cracked publicly. Kendall's spreadsheets mocked from her tablet. Herbert voiced fragments. "Witness, you signed." Maverick stared at the floor, words failing. The sponsors exited to the backyard, conversation low but decisive. "Pull the offer, too unstable." The phone call ended the partnership. Misappropriation evidence pinned the blame. Monaco Luxury Equipment Vanity Company funds siphoned. The lien's witness clause sealed fate. Maverick's casual signature haunted him. Kendall chased the couple outdoors. "We can restructure," ignored. The husband confirmed withdrawal via email draft. 550,000 gone. The brunch backdrop turned into a stage for collapse. Maverick slumped against the wall, pallor deepening. Career pinnacle shattered. Kendall returned, defeated, eyes glassy. Herbert closed the document, finality sinking in. Sponsors departed through the side gate, no goodbyes. The deal's corpse lay in exhibits. Maverick's influence network was notified indirectly. Reputation hemorrhaging began. Kendall whispered accusations, voice breaking. Maverick offered no defense. The room echoed emptiness. The bankruptcy complete, contract lost, facade stripped. Herbert pocketed key pages, evidence preserved. Maverick remained ashen, future erased in minutes. The backyard phone call echoed finality. Risk too high, trust breached. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded with calls. The screen lit relentlessly, 42 attempts in under 20 minutes. Names cycled: Maverick, Kendall, my parents, unknown numbers. I let voicemail pick up. Each ring amplified their desperation from afar. First-wave voicemails layered with accusations. Maverick's voice cracked through the speaker, threats mixed with pleas. Kendall sobbed in the background. My parents begged for intervention. I deleted them without listening fully. Second barrage texts flooded in. Screenshots of the notice circulated. Demands for explanation and reversal. I archived the thread. The final call came from Maverick's line. I answered on the last ring. "You're killing everything," he shouted immediately. Volume distorted. Kendall wailed nearby, the deals falling apart. Chaos overlapped, voices colliding. I waited for a breath. "Pay the lien or lose the company," I stated flatly. "Handle your choices. No negotiation." The line demanded compliance, not debate. Maverick raged on career ruin, family betrayal. Kendall interrupted with hysterics: investors gone, reputation destroyed. Their panic fed off each other, spiraling. Aunt Evelyn's text arrived mid-outburst: end the call. "Chaos isn't yours to clean, simple, direct." Her wisdom cut through the noise. I adhered. Nothing more to say. Maverick screamed denial. Kendall begged for reconsideration. I ended the connection and powered off the device. Silence reclaimed the room. 42 missed calls stared back before the screen went black. Desperation echoed in memory, their world collapsing under self-made weight. Voicemails piled up post-shutdown but were inaccessible. Texts queued for later deletion. The lien stood firm. Choices were irreversible. Aunt Evelyn's message lingered on the lock screen before fading. Her support fortified my resolve. No cleanup duty, boundaries enforced. The phone rested dark. The outburst contained remotely. Steadfastness held against waves of despair. Maverick's fury replayed in my mind, killing everything empty threat. Kendall's tears falling apart. Consequence, not tragedy. I placed the device in a drawer. No further engagement. Evelyn's advice executed the call, terminated responsibility disclaimed. Their tandem breakdown highlighted isolation. The family unit fractured by their actions, not my enforcement. Pay or lose, the choice was binary. Aunt Evelyn followed up with a single thumbs-up emoji. Affirmation without words. Strength borrowed from her stance. Shutdown complete. 20 minutes of onslaught neutralized in seconds. Desperation, unmet steadfastness, unchallenged. The drawer closed. Chaos confined to their side. 2 weeks later, snow melted on the streets of Cleveland. Accumulated debts triggered the endgame. Unpaid suppliers filed claims, accelerating foreclosure. Riley executed the UCC lien, assets were seized without contest. Auction notices went up online. The plant's machinery, inventory, and real estate were listed for quick sale. Bidders circled within days. Dean Steelworks LLC dissolved under the auctioneer's hammer, each strike echoing its finality. Maverick faced personal bankruptcy. Remaining contracts collapsed under insolvency clauses. Influencer partnerships evaporated, brands distanced themselves overnight. His portfolio of success turned into a liability. Attempts at contact surged. Emails from my family pleaded for reconciliation, blaming external forces. The phone lines briefly reopened, then were shut permanently. Numbers changed, filters added. Every path closed. Aunt Evelyn called from Pittsburgh. "Proud of you," she said firmly. "Blood isn't family, respect is." Her voice carried decades of boundary lessons. No judgment, only validation. I severed ties completely. Remote monitoring confirmed account closures. Auction proceeds were applied to the outstanding lien balance, partial recovery, full separation. Maverick's public downfall trended briefly, then vanished. Creditors pursued whatever remained. My family circled their defenses around him, rewriting narratives as they always had. Boundaries aren't negotiable, set them early or pay the price forever. The mantra hardened through enforcement. Rescue became release. Aunt Evelyn shared stories of her own severed ties. "Freedom follows the snip," she said. Her support came wrapped in truth. Chicago's skyline greeted me each morning without wait. Alerts silenced, dashboards archived. The chapter closed. The auction wrapped in 48 hours. The highest bids claimed the equipment, property transferred. The company name retired. Maverick relocated quietly, opportunities dried up. Family outreach stopped after being blocked. Silence created peace. Evelyn's call ended with plans for a visit. A real connection chosen, not inherited. Respect earned, not assumed. Relief flowed freely. Support from the one person who mattered. The lesson settled in: deeply protect first, regret never. The streets cleared and the path forward opened wide.